A Face in the Dark by Ruskin Bond. Students, now going to start the chapter A Face in the Dark. Put your fingers on the sentences and try to understand the story. A very interesting and a supernatural story. This is Mr. Oliver, an Anglo-Indian teacher. An Anglo-Indian means a person of English or British citizenship living in India. A person of English or British citizenship. Person is from Britain or England, living in India is called Anglo-Indian. Mr. Oliver was an Anglo-Indian teacher, was returning to his school late one night. As it was a day boarding school, was returning to his school late one night on the outskirts of the hill station of Shimla. From before Kipling's time, their school had been run on English public school lines. That was English medium school like yours. And the boys, most of them from wealthy Indian families. The boys who were studying there were from well-to-do family, or they were very affluent. They belonged to very affluent families, with Indian families. Wore blazers, caps and tie, like you. Life magazine, in a feature on India, had once called it the Eton of the East. That school was called the Eton of the East. Eton means a town in Berkshire in England, a prestigious public school for boys in the town of Eton. A prestigious public school for boys in the town of Eton. Very famous, very renowned school. Mr. Oliver had been teaching in the school for several years. He was teaching in that school for several years. A very renowned school where all the students belonged to a wealthy Indian families. All the students were very well-to-do family. So Mr. Oliver had been teaching in the school for several years. The Shimla Bazaar, with its cinemas and restaurants, was about 3 miles from the school. And Mr. Oliver, a bachelor, usually strolled into the town, he usually goes there for walking, usually strolled into the town in the evening, returning after dark. Means after sunset. He used to come back from the market after sunset, when he would take a shortcut through the pine forest. You know, in hilly areas, pine trees grow in plenty. So when he would take a shortcut, as when he comes back, the sun was disappeared, and in the atmosphere is very eerie, very strange in the forest. So when he would take a shortcut, this was the reason he used to take a shortcut through the pine forest. When there was a strong wind, the pine trees made sad. When there was a strong wind, the pine trees made sad, eerie, very strange, unusual sound that kept most people to the main road. That was the reason that the people used to use main road instead of a shortcut. But Mr. Oliver was not a nervous or imaginative man. He was not a nervous, he was a very courageous man. He carried a torch, and its gleam, the batteries were running down. The batteries were running down. Moved fitfully, moved irregularly, unsteadily down the narrow forest path. When its flickering light fell in the figure of a boy, he met a boy. The batteries ran down. The battery, the torch was flickering. Flickering light fell on the figure of a boy who was sitting on a rock, who was sitting alone on a rock. Mr. Oliver stopped. He stopped. Boys were not supposed to be out after dark. He thought that boy is from his school. So he suggested the boy not to be out after dark. He should be in the school at present. So he says, "What are you doing out here, boy?" Yeah, the question, "What are you doing out here?" asked Mr. Oliver, sharply moving closer so that he could recognize the miscreant. Miscreant means a person who has done something wrong. As he was sitting on the rock in that odd time, so he thought that he is a miscreant. So he asked, moving closer, that he could recognize the miscreant. But even as he approached the boy, Mr. Oliver sensed that something was wrong. He made an idea that something was wrong there. The boy appeared to be crying. When he asked the question, "What are you doing at this time? What are you doing out here, boy?" Oliver said that something was wrong. The boy appeared to be crying. His head hung down. He held his face in his hands, and his body shook convulsively, violently, to suffer violently, involuntary and contraction of the muscles. Convulsively. His body shook convulsively. His body shook violently. It was a strange, soundless weeping, and Mr. Oliver felt distinctly uneasy. When the boy started weeping in a strange way, soundlessly, without any sound, Mr. Oliver felt clearly uncomfortable. "Well, what's the matter?" he asked. He asked the boy, "But please tell me, what is the matter? Why are you weeping?" He asked, his anger giving way to concern. His anger giving way to concern. He became worried. He became anxious about the boy. What are you crying for? What is the reason that you are crying?" The boy would not answer or look up. His body continued to be racked with silent sobbing. Continuously was sobbing. Come on, boy, you shouldn't be out here at this hour. That this time is very odd. Come on, boy, you shouldn't be out here at this hour. Tell me the trouble. Look up. Tell me the trouble. Why are you worried? What happened? What's wrong with you? Tell me the trouble. Look up. The boy looked up. He took his hands from his face and looked up at the teacher. Looked at Mr. Oliver. The light from Mr. Oliver's torch fell on the boy's face. If you could call it a face. It was very difficult to call it face. Though it was a face, but it cannot be called a face because it had no eyes, ears, nose or mouth. The face had no eyes, no ears, no nose or mouth. It was just a round, smooth head with a school cap on top of it. And that's where the story should end. But for Mr. Oliver, it did not end here. What happened? The next. What happened? Read it here. The torch fell from his trembling hand. Torch. He got afraid. The torch fell from his trembling hand. He turned and scrambled down the path, running blindly through the trees and calling for help. Help me, help me, help me. He was continually calling and blindly running through the trees. He was still running toward the school building when he saw a lantern swinging in the middle of the path. A lantern swinging in the middle of the path. Mr. Oliver stumbled up to the watchman of the school, gasping for breath. He wanted to take some rest, gasping for breath. What is it, Sahib? The watchman said. What is it, Sahib? Asked the watchman. Has there been an accident? Why have you become breathless? What's wrong with you? Has there been an accident? Why are you running? I saw something horrible, Mr. Oliver said to the watchman. I saw something horrible, a boy weeping in the forest, and he had no face. He told the watchman. No face, sir? He asked the question to Mr. Oliver. No eyes, nose, mouth, nothing? Do you mean it was like this, sir? Asked the watchman, and raised the lamp to his own face. The watchman had no eyes, no ears, no features at all, not even an eyebrow. And that's when the wind blew the lamp out. Though the watchman had nose, ears, features, all the features, but as Mr. Oliver got afraid, everywhere the picture of the boy was disturbing him. Everywhere he sees the picture of the boy, so he sees the same thing in the watchman's face as well. As it was a supernatural story written by Ruskin Bond, here, and that's when the wind blew the lamp out, and by this way the story ends. Students, if you have any problem, please ask me, and complete your workbook of short story and poetry. It will be checked after some days in the school. Thank you so much.